Happy New Year, cinephiles. I hope you all had a great holiday season. I know I did, and I'm looking forward to another year of Patreon requests. 2020 is going to be the best yet, so let's dig right into the January requests with... yeah, if you can't tell, we're doing another Christmas movie. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. We just did an entire month worth of Patreon requests. Barely any of them were Christmas movies. And now, for January, you really want to do a Christmas movie? Why? We just finished Christmas like a month ago. We're really going to do this again? Okay, I guess Rudolph has some relevance for the entire year. I mean, it deals with themes of bullying and acceptance and being true to yourself. And I guess you could watch it pretty much any day of the year if you ignore all the Christmas crap. You know what? Screw it. Whoever decided that Christmas movies are only for Christmas anyway. Come on. Okay. You know, before Christmas is done, let's give one more movie a watch.
Rudolph was released in 1964, premiering on television and essentially becoming a staple of the American home for every holiday season since. Created by the Rankin Bass Company, this stop-motion tale takes the original Rudolph song and tells it for an hour-long length, with additional characters, a cheap but charming look, and tons of songs. It's something that's been in my life as long as I can remember, but I guess I've never critically looked at the special. Okay, that's not entirely true. Years ago, I did a video about the sequel that was released by Good Times in 2001. It wasn't a sequel to their own Rudolph movie in 1998, but was instead a continuation of the 1964 special with old-school computer animation and a new story. In that same video, I did quickly touch upon the Rankin Bass special. I'd play a clip from the video, but honestly, it's so old, crummy, and the sound was recorded with what sounds like a 1940s Vitaphone mic, I can't even get through it without cringing. I guess we've finally come full circle. I reviewed the sequel, I did the 1998 version, and even the short film from 1948. It only makes sense that I finally talk about the most popular of the bunch. Overall, I actually enjoyed this a lot more than I remembered. It could be the nostalgia, but I really had a fun experience with this. To think it was made in the 60s with the given technology and budget, I can't believe they were actually able to pull this off the way they did. The animation can look sloppy and rushed at times, but it really is part of what makes these so memorable and pure. It belongs to the era it was born in and reflects it only in the best of ways. There seems to be a sporadic amount of songs, as if they were trying to find any kind of lyric that could fill up a slightly long runtime, but they can be catchy. We are Santa's elves, we're a couple of misfits, silver and gold, but they do seem to pop up at the most random of times. Like we have the character Yukon Cornelius, who's mining for different elements and metals, and Sam the Snowman just cuts off the story and starts singing about silver and gold, even though it has nothing to do with Christmas. I compare it to that random song the lion sings in The Wizard of Oz about being the king of the forest. Both songs go on for way too long, don't have any connection to the story, and seem to be there only so the famous performer of the time can get their own song. Watching it today with audiences having no idea who the performer even is, it becomes even more confusing. But I guess the song is good. Many of my thoughts drift when I watch this, thinking of the different parodies that have been done in commercials, movies, and other television shows. Rankin Bass is just fun to pick on, but the spoofs continue only because the special is enduring. However, most of the complaints that I've heard are directed at Rudolph's surrounding family and friends, if you can even call them friends. Everyone teases him due to the red nose, but they only let him join in the reindeer games after his differences are beneficial. This has been lambasted as a terrible moral, and I agree, to a point. There's an ounce of me that can't help but feel that this is much closer to reality than fiction, as people are teased or mocked for their differences all the time, and it seems that only those who become famous due to those differences end up finding satisfaction with others. However, that's the cynic in me. The truth is that all these other losers don't really matter. Clarice and Rudolph's parents go searching for him after he goes missing for months. These three individuals actually care about him, and that's all that really matters. And this is before Rudolph's red nose saves the day. Besides, I'm not that shocked by the other reindeer's reactions. I'm more annoyed that Santa is an apparent asshole towards Rudolph and his father for creating such a supposed monstrosity. This version of Santa is a jerk, and his wife seems just as cranky. Well, he keeps calling her mama, so maybe it's actually his mom. Do they ever explicitly say? Was mama a term men would call their wives in the 60s? I mean, if you're going to question the entire moral of the movie, you might as well also question why Hermes' boss is forcing him to make toys, yet threatens to fire him, contradicting himself. Or how about the characters who themselves are twisted villains for tearing the teeth out of Bumble's mouth? That's straight up torture. It's not like the writers were 100% on their game. A lot of the writing is questionable and loopy. In fact, did you know that the Island of Misfit Toys were not originally rescued by Santa for the ending of the movie? Yeah, even though Rudolph promised to have Santa visit them, the original version never had Santa come back. They just abandoned this story and the characters. People got pissed off at this and wrote letters to NBC, and they added the extra scene for the finale a year later. Is this the first case of a fandom complaining and the studio actually responds by making changes? See, even before the internet, fandoms were entitled. Like I said all those years ago, it's not perfect, but it still works for me. You can't really judge this too much. I mean, just look at it. I can't really explain it, but with any single frame, you can tell that it has no budget, yet all the effort in the world. Maybe that's why people return to it year after year, because it relates to our human side, and how the smallest of efforts can make all the difference. Of course, it could also be that the special was meant to live and die in 1964, but it kept rebroadcasting because the networks didn't want to keep producing new content. Hey, Christmas season, we don't want to air a rerun, we might as well just show that Christmas thing we made last year. And that's essentially been the same answer they've had for the last 50 years. Thanks to Elizabeth for this Patreon request, and thanks to all my Patreon supporters. For only $7, you can get your own monthly movie review. Ask me to review anything I haven't already. There's also other perks like blogs, exclusive videos, and early access. You can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And thanks so much for watching this video.